Welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith, and we're getting ready to cut out one of these flanges. This is the panic of the day, and this is a exhaust flange with a pipe thread in it, and we're just going to cut the plate out of the 1-inch steel we have here, and then we're going to get in there and start turning it in the lathe. We're going to set it up in the 4-jaw, and of course this is the pipe threads here, and we're going to be doing it single point with the tracer attachment. Alright, this cooled down enough to handle it pretty good, and we already took it on the sander on our Wilton. In fact, actually, we grabbed the paper and we ended up having to change our disc on there today a little prematurely. I hate to really waste one out like that. Anyhow, we're in here because we got to keep moving on this job here, and this is a square item, and of course the 3-jaw is not ideal, so we're going to be swapping out. We're going to get our 4-jaw in there, and then we're going to start setting up to open up the bore and get our opening shaped out to where we can start our threads. So for right now, I'm going to start getting this chuck off of here. And we have our small spanner. And we get this into the lowest speed right there. It's always nice to cut your power. Alright, now our chuck is loose. And we usually put a rag down there or so. This plywood is a good thing as well, except for the double V on this side and the flat on that side. The board actually angles and the chuck wants to roll off the other side. But there's another thing that we can do here as well. Before I pull this off, I like to have this jaw open a little bit so I can get my hand underneath there anyway. And also too, I know that when the number 2 jaw is up, the chuck is in line. Alright, and this chuck here, I do like to stand on the bed here and lower it down on there. Alright, now we can roll it out here on top of the doubles, and it levels it out. Alright, a little cleaning before we set it on the floor there. Alright, and then we make sure we got it good, and we bend at the knees, putting it down to the ground. Alright, now we're going to swing the gantry over here because we're going to pick up the 4-jaw with the lift itself. Okay, now over the years, I've had my share of pissing contests with other fellow employees and co-workers about whether the key should be up and down whenever you assemble it. Some believe the keyway should be down so that any shit that gets in the bore falls down and goes down inside the key. You know, I tend to like to have it up above so I got good alignment. Also, the key is a ramp of straight alignment for your threads to go together. So it doesn't really matter. The main thing is make sure that you're clean. And if there's no chips in there, then it doesn't matter which way you assemble it. Alright, so always make sure that nothing is underneath that slinger ring there. And also sometimes where the adapter bolts to the plate, there's a little gap in behind there. Make sure that you don't pop a chip up out of there and get in between here. Alright, it's always a good thing, bare hand, to check it. Alright, then you know you're good to go. Okay, back into the low gear. I couldn't see my wrench. I've just put a little tension like that. I've never had it come loose on me. Alright, now we can go ahead and clean off the face. We're going to get a few things ready. I'm going to move the gantry and kind of clear the path here. And we'll get you set up, and we're going to start mounting in our blank there. Start drilling out the hole. Alright, we're getting ready. We're going to loosen this up and slide this over and put a mandrel in here. Alright, now this is my machinist handbook, and this is a Boston gear cover. And I actually got, not because I'm here on the Cape or whatever, this Boston gear cover I actually got out of a collection of books in California back when I first picked up my very first machinist handbook, which is the 17th edition. And this is my all-around beater book, and I get my notes and all that other stuff in here. Anyway, I'm coming in here because basically we're gonna be, putting in a pipe thread, and I just come to flip here because I'm going to show you why I'm setting up the mandrel that I'm going to use in here. And what I have is so simple as far as getting the taper of the thread set up. Cutting the thread is going to be a little bit more difficult than doing it with a tracer attachment, but with the tracer versus the taper attachment. A taper attachment lets you use your compound and you feed in on your bits with your compound, and with the tracer attachment it follows the taper, and I got only straight in increments to cut, so I'll be doing a full contact cut on this for the duration of cutting the threads. Alright, the taper of the thread is 1 inch and 16, or 3/4 inch per foot, and that's exactly what marine shafting is, and that's what all my mandrels are set up, and I have a master mandrel already set up. So that's where I get the information. So we're going to close up the book. I'm going to get the mandrel in here, and then we'll get set up on the other side. Alright, now I want to move, I got to move my points all the way as close as I can to the chuck so that I'll be able to, see that, righty tighty, lefty loosey, go the wrong way. Alright. And this back one here, all my mandrels are pretty close to the same length, so you just got to move these simultaneously in here. And alright, we grab the master in here, and we're going to be cutting smaller diameter towards the chuck, so that's going to be the big end and the small end over here. Alright, Everything's tight there. Alright. Now let's go around to the other side. This will be fine. Now the finger will be able to come in and touch up and cut this taper and trace it onto here. Now we're going to turn our tool block here and get the setup with a boring bar and a bit going in there. Alright, I'm going ahead and we're just right now bare jaw, and I'm just going to take this and I'm going to hold it up in here. I'm using the lines on the chucks, and that's what, you know, they're all reference lines. And I got the right chuck key here. The other one I have is 4-sided, and this is a hexagon. So anyway, I crank this in and out until I kind of look at the even pattern side to side in one direction here, and that looks pretty close right there. Now I just rotate it over to the next side here, and now I can bring this one in almost as close as that one there, and that looks pretty even. And that one tightens up pretty close to the same there as well. I'm bringing a certain point. I usually use the corner of the jaws in relationship to the line here and how far it is there. You know, compare it from there to there, there to there. You can also do the same thing here on the inside. You can hold your part up there and you kind of look at that corners to that line to that line. You know, you get a good just of eyeballing your part center in the forward jaw, and that's what those lines are all about. Alright, now we're going to be running our part out here at the end of the jaws here, so that you know, it's not down inside the jaws. It is preferred, I prefer to actually have the face of my part outside the jaw here. You know, it's kind of nice to have your part up in the front there. Alright, so right now I'm gonna go ahead and give I'm gonna go a little bit of adjustment this way here, just because I can see it's about 1/8 of an inch off there. Alright, and side to side here. Alright, that looks good. Alright, now I'm still a little cocked here. I'm not worried about that yet, but I'm going to loosen this one off a little bit, and I'm going to loosen this one off. Okay, now I'm going to just cock this straight like that. Alright, now I usually carry let me set this down for a second. I usually carry a little box, all kinds of little aluminum blocks and all kinds of different things. I even have a little bit of round, because on the 3 jaw there you have a little round piece, and sometimes I'll slide these into that little cavity. So there's all different kinds of shapes that you can grab a hold of. And the reason why you want to grab these jaws right here are bell mouth, but also the part is not exactly cut square. Okay, by putting a little piece of aluminum in there, you get to pick up the idiosyncrasies of the surfaces meeting, and it creates like a little pad there. And I keep them uniform. I'm going to put them towards the back edge there, and I tighten on that one. Then I come to the next one here. Everything looks still pretty square in here. I loosen that one, and I put it even with the back edge. You know, I'm looking at the back edge back there. Alright. That's a little bit in there, but I'm going to pry that out in a minute here. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to go get one of my heel bars that kind of like that. Even light pressure on it. I didn't crank down on any of them, just enough so that there's no play. Alright. Now I'm going to go and get a pry bar. I'm going to go get the surface gauge. Gives me a pointer, a reference out here. I'm going to show you how to dial this in. And we will put a dial indicator against the face to get it flat. We're going to use a pointer to dial it in peripheral. And then we'll be ready to start cutting on this. Alright, I got a mag base and indicator here. And I'm putting it right onto the Aloris holder here, because I can go ahead and easily just pivot around. I could be up here in the middle here, and I can have plenty of room extended between my carriage. Alright, I'm going to bring it in here because I don't know exactly how true we are, so we want to make sure we have contact there. And now that I see that, I go ahead and bring this out. The farther out you are on your part, the the more accurate you're going to be. All right, now I stuck it in there and it looks like I'm about 70,000, 75 thousandths right there. Okay, and that's high, and but that's comfortable out there. So let's see about bringing this point in right here. Now, there's two different ways to do this, and I usually like either one of my crowbars, the flat blade pinch bar, or the rocker foot style here, and I can just go off of here, and I'm just in there lightly so I can easily just lightly pry out on that surface right there, and I'm going to go ahead and bring it out to there's 80 thousandths. Now if I was going to use this one here, I might put a piece of block aluminum in there. You know, and I'm not using any force to actually gouge, scrape, or pry in the back there. All right, now we brought it down, and oh, gotta love that phone, don't you? All right, now we're off in this direction here a little bit, so we're just gonna add a little bit here. All right. I just lost the grip on there, but I'm going to just finger that back in a little bit. Alright, we're about out as much as we were at the beginning there. Alright, a little bit of tension on here. The more square you get the thing, the less pressure you actually have. So that was my fault by not getting right in there. Okay. Here we are, we're back out on one of those corners again. I think that's just normally how that sets in there. Alright. Alright, 30. There's about 50. Okay, I'm just going to double check this tension here again so I don't have that same mishap. Still does feel like it's tight. Alright. Alright, down to 20. We just need another 10 in here. Well, that moved pretty easy. Okay, now we're gonna go for a little tap on the high. Sometimes a little shocking motion. Now I'm using a brass hammer, so I'm not really trying to pound or put a dent in there. And I'm just using a little shocking tap and just moving a couple thousandths at a time. Let's get pretty close right there. Meaning we don't know where we're at peripheral, so I want to go ahead and I want to double check that now. We're within 5 thousandths right now. Okay, let's verify that after we tighten that up. Okay, we're within 7 thousandths. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and use a surface gauge here. And this gauge, we just, we bring up the base. We don't have our pins. We're not going to try to do side to side or travel that way there. We just want to go and hold a point in off of this relationship right here. And we crank in our carriage so we can bring this in. And we bring our point on over. We're going to go down a little bit so we're even almost the height, the center line. And now we got that point in line with the vertical of that flat. Now we're going to be comparing that from there to that one, Okay, we're this way here about 1/16 of an inch, so about 30 thousandths, and the same there. So we need to go that way and that way there. And you always put the pressure on the push side first, and then come around to the opposite side and relax it slightly. And you can actually sit there and watch it move. And it doesn't have to be in. Alright, we're even, eyeballed down the side. And we're going to go ahead and just finalize a tension here. And then one last time, we'll go ahead and put our indicator on there. And I'm at 60, and here's the high here. Okay, we're within 5 there. Alright, we're close enough to put a pipe thread in there. Alright, we're going to go ahead. One of our subscribers sent us in a starting bit. And first off, I want to make sure our chuck is in there good. Now this is a high-speed cobalt starting drill, very short flute, and the angle is 120 degree angle on it, and he's stating that it's better to start with a starting drill like this than it is to center drill it and then pop in with a different angled drill bit like your 118s or so after you've hit the 60 degrees, so that you're not making contact in the center of your flute and damaging your drills as much. And you know, so anyway, we're giving it a shot here. And here we go. And all we're going to do is just go in and get our 1/2 inch diameter started. We can go ahead and switch this out to a 1/2 inch drill bit now, and we'll just follow that hole on in there. It did cut pretty free. It did seem to cut in the center and not want to walk around. So, I mean, it's only a first time testing it, so I got a lot of other testing to do with it. But I just thought I'd bring that up. Now we're going to jump up to, we got 2 different diameters. I mean, our largest diameter on our drill is about 1 3/4 inches. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to probably somewhere in the middle of that, and then hit that one there for a following drill. Alright, we're going to hit 1 1/8 inch drill, and then we'll go to 1 3/4 inch drill. We'll slow her down just a little bit. ground pretty even. Going to peel off a nice equal chip on each flute there. Okay, I'm going to put away the drills and I'm going to get out the boring tool and we're going to change over this block. Okay, we bring that in there and then we kind of feed our table in and out here to actually get the center, making sure that we're in the center of our hydraulic travel so we don't run out of travel. Then we go ahead and we bring in our compound to where we're going to be riding in the center. Now this holder I made here automatically sets that bit on center there. Okay, now we're just going to make sure we're glancing down here that on our jig we're not going to run out of travel. And this bores deeper as it goes in there, so we actually we got our manual in backwards. And we're going to flip that around. All right. Alright, we got plenty of travel. And it actually cuts bigger as it goes, or smaller as it goes in. And I like that. Okay, we're going to reverse our travel. We're going to change our speed. And check our travel direction. We're feeding right. Alright, now we feed out on our compound until we touch. Alright, we're going to go ahead and we're going to shorten this up because we got plenty of room to travel that way. We're going to make it more rigid. Especially when it comes to threading, we're going to need it more rigid. Alright. Alright, we can work. We can work in that realm right there. We'll give that a shot. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to try like 30,000, so we're at a fine feed.